of the miracles entrenched in the Quran. A miracle, according to scientists, is something that can be copied by anyone. A miracle is something that goes beyond the physical law of nature. A miracle is an act of superpower that human beings cannot replicate. Now, if this is the miracle, then the miracle of Quran superseded the word miracle itself, because the fact that the Quran exists amongst us untouched, undeleted, unadded, added and deleted, it is a self-evident by itself that the Quran is a book that Allah have revealed to mankind. So most of the scholars every year in the month of Ramadan, they expend a lot of time to emphasize the beauty of the Quran, the important aspect of the Quran, and the legislative pronouncement of the Quran, so that those who don't have the understanding will understand. Why? Because if you do a lot of good things, you are expected to do even more in the month of Ramadan. If you are someone that helps a lot of people, you have to double it. So that's what the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. Anytime, every year, at the time that he existed in Medina, when the time or the month of Ramadan get very close by, he, instill in his companions the act of doing righteousness and goodness and kindness, because it is a mercy that Allah have made them see the month of Ramadan. So the month of Ramadan is a harbinger of doing good stuff. And so therefore, today I'm going to be looking at one aspect of creation that specialists are talking about that have to do with mankind itself. And so that introduction of that topic today is embryology in the Quran. The study or the information of embryology in the Quran. Now, according to Pythagoras was the architect or a scientist who specialized on embryology. And sometimes they call him the father of embryology. Now, in those era, even before the Enlightenment, going back into the medieval, Pythagoras proposed that if a man ejects a sperm in the female, there is a little tiny weeny baby in the sperm, that he deposits the sperm in the womb of the female, and eventually this little tiny bit of preformed baby that has been deposited in the womb of the female begins to grow, and eventually that is how we happen to have babies. And so people at that time, they believed in what he said because they call him the father of embryology. And many books were written, ancient books were written based upon the theory that Pythagoras have proposed, that a female deposits a baby. And that was the belief of the time. And so women get burned at stake for not allowing or inciting the men so that they will have a baby boy. So anytime a king with his wife, if the female is pregnant and she got a baby and the baby is a female, he warned her, because there was also an assumption or a belief system that the gametes of the female also acts in relation of creating the unborn baby in the womb. So the women are more so responsible for the sex of the baby. And so many female are burned at stake, even though they have nothing to do with this performance. They have nothing to do at all. Sometimes a man, at a time before the Enlightenment, day of Enlightenment, in the Dark Ages, the men warned their female or their wives, I'm warning you, you've given me 2 girls already. I need a boy so that when I go, the boy will take my stead, pass on my legacy. This is how they think at that time. And the whole world is engulfed in this kind of thinking and belief system. Not until a German scientist by the name of Leuwenhoek, he was the first who actually created, a telescope that can a microscopic mechanism that can look deep into the sperm. Because if a man ejects a sperm, it comes along with over 500 million spermatozoas. And so they look into it for the first time and they begin to realize the division within the sex tract itself. That was the belief at the time. Embryology. So what is embryology? Embryology is a Greek word. It came from a Greek embryon, meaning unborn. Because the embryo in that stage, in the womb of the mother, attached in the tendon of the abdominal wall, it is unborn. So the Greek word for that is embryon, meaning unborn. And it is part of biology, which specializes on the study of the gametes, which is the sex cell of the baby, the developmental stage, the fertilization stage, and the fetus stage. That is embryology. And so it is one of the hottest topics in the field of human development. And so therefore today, we're going to elucidate and clarify what Quran have given in terms of embryology. See if the Quran is indeed given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But before then, Allah said, وَيَرَى الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَيَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. Those who have the knowledge, O Muhammad, eventually they will come and they will believe and they will see that you are on the right track and that it is Allah who sent you. This information was given over 1,400 years ago. In other words, Muhammad could not, in his own figment of imagination, come to conclusion as to the miracle enshrined in the Quran. So, inshallah, I'm going to be dealing with some of the information that came across us, in the system of embryology. There is a man in Canada. He's called Keith Elmore. He's the best scientist in terms of embryology on the whole continent, in this world today. He's written so many books. Some of his books have dealt with embryology, and so Islamic scientists approach him because he's a professor emeritus in terms of embryology. So they approach him with few Quranic verses that deal with his specialty, and they ask him to comment on it. So when he began to comment, he asked a question: who told Muhammad this? Like in a blunt, who told him this? They say, well, where did you get this from? He was asking the Muslim scientists, and they said it's in the Quran. He said, what is the Quran? He said, it is a revelation given to Muhammad over 1,400 years ago. And he said, no, that's not possible. They say, why? He said, because the information that you have brought forth, it is something that is contemporary, is current. His name is Professor Keith Elmore. You Google on internet, Professor Keith Elmore. Some of his books, the 8th edition, he added Islamic quotations dealing with embryonic stages. And so when he was asked, he said, the way the Quran presented the information about embryology, him being a professor par excellence in terms of embryology, he could not be in position to make those outstanding precision of words. He said it is impossible. So therefore, this is something that Allah have given precedence upon. Knowledge is key. In Islam, knowledge is power. Knowledge is the key. Because without knowledge, these intellectuals who are supporting the truth of the Quran could not have made any comment. But let me put this across. We don't need scientists to prove that the Quran is from Allah. We don't need that at all, absolutely. But we are just quoting what they say so we could buttress our information. And for those of you who want to do more research, you simply have to go on the internet. You dial Keith L. Moore. Keith L. Moore. It will come and you will see some of his books. This man is a Caucasian. He's a white man who lived in Canada. Why would he take upon himself to insert Islamic verses that deals with embryology? And if we propose that Muhammad somehow was an intellectual who have double PhD on embryology at the time that he existed, still there was no telescope to look inside. There was no microscopic telescope to look inside the womb of a... How could that even be in the 7th century? Even if he looks in it, or if they kill a woman, subhanallah, and they look into her womb, they can't even see all this division. It is through microscopic telescope before they could able to tell the division, the breakage of all this thing. Meanwhile, in the very beginning of Allah's revelation to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Suratul Alaqa, Quran 96, Allah said, "Iqra'a bi ismi rabbika allazi khalaqa, khalaqa li insan min alaqa, Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram, allazi allama bil qalam, allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam." So in the first verse, Allah gave us an idea of how human being came. How we came. In the very first revelation, the first 5 verses. Iqra isma rabbika allazi khalaqa, khalaqa al-insan min alaqa. Alaqa. Let's just stop right there and talk about this alaqa thing. The word alaqa in lexical Arabic connotation, it means blood. It also means a congeal of blood. It also means something that is suspended. Like if you hang your shirt in your closet, it is suspended. The word alaqa gives all these variations. So if we look, alaqa, if a woman is pregnant, there is a lot of blood. There is a lot of blood. The congealed blood that take over the womb of a female. Because once you release the sperm that goes into the womb of the female, you release this over 500 million spermatozoas. But only one will get into the fallopian tube to be fertilized. Once it's fertilized, it settles in the womb and it begins to break into different cells. Then it goes and attaches itself on the abdominal wall. There is a wall in the womb. From the blood, it thickens. Then it attaches itself to the wall. The word alaqa also means leech. In Hausa, we call that masasaku. Because at the second week, if a female is pregnant, the blood turns into a leech. A leech is masasaku. At that time, the embryo, who is beginning to divide itself to become a fetus, suck the blood of the mother. That's where it survived. So the word alaqa means that which sucks. It also means a congeal of blood. Then when it attaches itself into the wall, it changes dynamics. It becomes something that is suspended. So if a female is carrying the baby, it is not in the womb, like in the womb settled down there. It is suspended on a part of the wall. The word alaqa gives us an idea. Alaqa. Khalaqa al-insan min alaqa. Alaqa says blood. It says leech. It also means suspended. All these 3 variations, it fits in like a jigsaw puzzle. It fits in like a man put a glove in his hand. Who told Muhammad in the desert, without any computerization, without any mechanism to decipher a woman, without any ultrasound to look inside and give account of what is happening? Who told him? So Allah said, لكن الله أنزل إليك أنزله بعلم وملائكة يشهد وكفى بالله شهيدا. Oh Muhammad, Allah said, whatever I've given to you, it came from my own fountainhead of knowledge. And the angels who are close to me, they also bear witness. Then Allah say, nay, I am Allah. I am the ultimate witness that whatever I've given you is the fact. And that let mankind bring their other proof if they don't believe in you. So Allah said, Qul, He told the early, pagan Arabs who are questioning the revelation. Allah said, Qul, tell them, لَإِنِّ اجْتَمَعَتُ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله ولو كان بعضهم لبعض ظهيرا. If the whole of mankind and jinn were to come together to write a book like the Quran, they will not be able to do it, Allah said, even if they support themselves from any angle. Now, if you look at this verse carefully, we don't speak like that. Human beings do not speak like this. The whole of mankind and jinn, what kind of challenge is this? What if somebody wrote a book like the Quran after Muhammad? That means Islam will be destroyed. But whoever made those statements have an in-depth knowledge, an infinite knowledge that no one will be able to write a book like the Quran. It is a standing challenge. The Arabs were listening. What did they say? Nothing. They understood what the Quran said. Then, 10 years after that, Allah reduced the challenge. This time, Allah did not say the whole of mankind and jinn. He said, Am yaqulu naftara? Do they say, you, Muhammad, forged the Quran? Qul fahtu bi ashiri surin misliki muftaratun. Let them bring 10 surah only this time, if they are speaking the truth. 10, come on, 10. Did they bring it? No. The Arabs were listening. They couldn't do it. Then at the end, Allah said, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ فَإِن لَّمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. If you are in doubt, O mankind, as to the message we've given our apostle, then bring one surah this time, one, like the Quran, if you are speaking the truth, and bring all your witnesses. And Allah said, فَإِن لَن تَفْعَلُوا, they cannot do it. وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا, they will not be able to do it. If that is the case, then Allah said, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Let them prepare themselves for the fire whose fuel is men and stone. This is a powerful, challenge put forth by the Quran. But the Arabs, you know what they say? Instead of bringing evidence, listen to what they say. The Quran reported, وَقَالُوا, and they say, La tasma'u li hadha al-Quran. Don't listen if Muhammad read the Quran in the Kaaba. Walgaw fihi la'allakum taglibun. Just make some noise if he is reading the Quran. Make some noise so that nobody will listen. That's a weak argument, man. You're going to resort to making noise? You can't write your book? Allah said, bring your evidence. You couldn't bring it. And so that is the power of the Quran. That is the power of the month of Ramadan. That is